PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code Cajun, all caps, CAJUN, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. And I've got Jonathan Pixley with me, the coach. What's happening?
What's up?
You're not the grind father. You did not want to retain the nickname the grind father. For some reason, you felt uncomfortable with that.
I feel like there's just so many different ways that could be misconstrued. So yeah. I don't want to stay with it.
Like sexual innuendos or
we were going to leave all that out. I mean, it's just a lot of ways. Just a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Ways.
Joe Biden's the grind father. He should be the grind father.
Okay. We'll let him have it. He can stay.
We're going to talk about the NBA today. It's real simple. And we're going to try to keep this sort of brief. We're going to do something today. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I've got to do something because nobody watches our videos. When I do a video, everybody watches. When you and I do a video, nobody watches. So either they don't like the way that we interact with one another, or there's only one more logical conclusion. But we're going to –
I am more than willing to accept my responsibility here. If I'm the problem, I'll get off. Like now, I'll get off.
It would just be me doing a video like every other day. That's not going to help. I need you because you know more about this than me. All right, so we're going to talk about the NBA. We're 2 weeks into the season. Every team's played 6 or 7 games. Some teams have actually played 5, 6, or 7. We've seen one play-in tournament game for most teams, but some still haven't played any. Those games, I think, are on Tuesdays and Fridays only. And so we're recording this on a Monday, so we haven't seen the second tournament play-in game, but we have seen the courts, right?
Can we agree that, like, for the longest time, I think people didn't understand the tournament and, like, okay, how is it set up? How does it work? Whatever. I think it's really important that we explain to our viewer that it is, it has no effect on the outcome of the season. None.
No. Well, I mean, other than it's another regular season game. I mean, it could affect whether you make or don't make the playoffs or where you're seated.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't get extra points for winning the season tournament that lead to a better seeding, anything like that. It's just
right.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's a gimmick.
It's good because the players are going to dig it because they're chasing real money. I mean, it's relevant money, especially for some of the lower contract guys. Some of the smaller wage earner guys. It's a big deal. The coaches are getting paid, so they're going to try to win this thing. I do think it could be a nice little and by the way, this is not part of our 3-on-3 yet, but we're going to each have 3 topics that we discuss about the first 2 weeks of the NBA season. We're just going to take turns. But I do think that there is the potential for a little springboard as far as momentum goes for a younger team. Like, if the Lakers or the Warriors or the Bucks or the Celtics win it, I don't think that they need that to validate their, worth or their potential to win the title. But if a team like the Thunder or the Kings or the Magic or even the Mavericks or somebody like that who's maybe a little bit on the, hasn't crossed that threshold yet, or maybe their confidence level as a team, or maybe they're a newly assembled team. Like if the Clippers won it, that's a veteran team. But wouldn't it be something if, the Beard comes in and they win that, which they're not, but if they did, which they're not, but if they did, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I could view it the other way too, and that is, if you win the midseason tournament, how much is that team going to get made fun of to a degree? Like, oh, wow, you won the midseason tournament. Congratulations. And then in the playoffs, it may make those veteran teams want to beat the shit out of you more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you don't want to be perceived as a try-hard, but Here's the deal. This goes on all over the world in other sports, especially in pro soccer and club soccer. So it's going to hit and it's going to stick. And I'll be honest with you, most of not all, but most of Adam Silver's ideas are pretty freaking good. And it makes the players, the coaches, the GMs, the owners, all those, it makes everybody more money. And I know this is a big television deal potential as well. So let's get our 3 things. Okay, so we're just going to take turns. We, as usual, we have not discussed what your 3 things are and what my 3 things are, but I think we're going to call it NBA 3-on-3 or something along those lines. You or me? Who do you want to? What do you want
first?
I'm up first. Okay, so the first thing, and I think I might steal one of your 3. The Grizzlies suck, and I'm so happy. I've never been so happy, Jonathan. And for years, we've been telling people how bad the Grizzlies are and how much they suck. And I've had to listen to people say they're awesome, they're this, they were the 2 seed, but they got bounced. They got bounced last year.
Yeah,
and they're a disaster this year. And we're recording this on Monday, November 6th, and I think it was Saturday. They had an insane come from behind win against the lowly Trailblazers. And of course, we were watching that game for other reasons because we were watching Skylar, who had a poster, a poster dunk. And it was, and the announcer was like, Skylar. Did you hear him say it? It was awesome.
Yeah.
But they had to squeak one out against the Trailblazers. And unfortunately, but they're 1-6. They're in 15th place. And all of the people, Jonathan, who for all of these years have said they're better off without John Morant. They're better off without John Morant. No, they're not. John Morant's pretty good. Think whatever you want to think about the dude. John Morant's pretty important, pretty relevant. He kind of makes that team go. And no Tyus Jones doesn't help. Marcus Smart's not Tyus Jones. He may be a better defender, but he's not a point guard like Tyus Jones. So that's my first thought is that the Grizzlies suck. Thank goodness. I do have friends and subscribers who like the Grizzlies. And so I just tongue in cheek, I don't hate on very many things. I'm a pretty positive person. The one thing is I bet the Grizzlies under in the win total. And so I'm feeling really good about my bet on FanDuel.
Yeah, and also the good thing for me is it also exposes the fraud that is Jaren Jackson Jr. because Steven Adams is not there.
Hold on. Let's be careful. Let's be careful. He's on my fantasy team now. Okay. I had to draft him on my fantasy team.
It's not. Let me rephrase.
I'm just kidding. No, he is a fraud.
No. Jaren Jackson Jr. personally, as a human being, is not a fraud.
No.
Those fans that make him into something he is not.
Yes.
Okay? Now it's exposed.
Now it's exposed.
Steven Adams is not there, and it matters a lot.
It does matter. And Jaren Jackson Jr. was not that dude in the World Cup this summer either. It started out looking like he was. He's not that dude. He's just not that dude. Okay, that's enough time on that one. Grizzlies suck. I'm happy about it. They need Morant. It might be too late by the time they get him. I mean, if they're 8 and 17 when Morant comes back, they ain't making the playoffs.
No way. No, not in that division, not in that conference, or not. They wouldn't in the East either, though. It wouldn't matter.
They aren't making the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, they're not making the playoffs. Keep going.
No, I agree. Okay. So start with mine. Biggest jump individually so far this year. Okay. I think most would argue Tyrese Maxey, which is probably accurate.
It's a big one.
If it's not him, I didn't see this one coming, but it's Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. You took one of my 3, you son of a bitch.
Huge jump.
Huge.
As a shooter, by the way. He made 5 threes that night. He took 10.
I got something for you. How about this? Wow. It ain't close. It ain't close. And he's 1-0 against the Bucks. It is not close. And that's my guy. That's my guy. But look at this. It's very lopsided.
Man.
Very lopsided. Barnes is putting up, dare I say, to this point, MVP type numbers?
No, he's not. There's no other MVP, man. Stop.
I'm just saying MVP type numbers. He's 20. I mean, if he was averaging 25, but look at his steals and blocks, dude. Those are huge. That's huge stocks.
If they were winning more, yeah, sure. And then if he had an average about 25. But yeah, no, look, man, it's a giant. Let's say this for sure. He's definitely putting up all league numbers without question.
Giannis's value over replacement player is 0.0. That means he's an average forward in the NBA right now. That's scary.
Okay, man. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Yeah, no, Jonathan, he is an absolute man-child. And look, we'll take it a step further. Look at this on Basketball Monster, which is the fantasy basketball. And we'll start to blend a little bit more fantasy stuff into here. Look where Scotty Barnes is, number 10th ranked fantasy player. He's wedged between Joel Embiid and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton and Doncic and Jokic and Curry. And, I mean, those are some names, dude. Man. And nobody would have ever guessed he'd be a top 10 fantasy player right now. Nobody in the world would have guessed that. He couldn't shoot the ball to save his life the entire last season. He couldn't shoot it at all. I would watch games because he was on my fantasy team, and it would drive me bananas. He'd be open from they guarded him like they guard Rondo. And so now he's making everything. But we'll see if this is sustainable and how long this lasts.
I agree. But look, 2 years ago when he was a rookie, and then we did you did your projections like the franchise guys, like where would you take him? I had him ranked I want to say in my top 15, like 12.
You did. We both had him ahead of Mobley.
Right. And then he had a bad year last year, I thought. He just
big step back.
Right. And we were like, wow, okay, maybe he's not that dude. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. We'll see. Like you said, I have to see it over 82 first.
Yeah.
So.
No, let's reiterate. We're not gonna be Stephen A. Smith and name the NBA champion after 7 games and say the Nuggets are unbeatable and the Grizzlies are not gonna go 1-71. We know that. So we're not gonna overreact because it's a small sample size, 5 games, 7 games, whatever. So we're not gonna do it. But it is interesting to note. Look at the number 1 fantasy player. It's Anthony Davis. He's playing almost 39 minutes a game.
Yeah.
We know one thing that ain't gonna last.
No.
So his numbers will last, but he ain't playing, 82 games at 39 minutes a game. Shit's going to go downhill fast if they don't figure that out. LeBron's playing a lot of minutes as well. LeBron is 17th in the fantasy numbers. He's playing almost 36 minutes a game. That's too many minutes for those two guys, especially what they have to do in those minutes. They're doing literally everything because Austin Reeves hadn't showed up. Austin Reeves has been a no-show this season. Good as Barnes' step forward has been, Austin Reeves took a second-year Scotty Barnes step backwards, which really surprised me.
His player index is like 6 right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Okay, my number 2 thing, since you stole Barnes, that was my number 2 thing, was the big jump that Barnes has taken in this small sample size. Is the Rookie of the Year race is not a one-horse race, and people think it is, and people thought it was. And I'm telling you right now, if analytics rule the day, Chet Holmgren's your Rookie of the Year. Now, look, I know that Wembanyama comes with a ton of fanfare, and I'm astonished. You and I have texted each other numerous times over the last 14 days saying, did you just see what I just saw? We were saying these things, and then we're also saying what? Why in the hell are they winning games? And why are they beating the Suns in back-to-back games?
Yes.
And why did he have 38 and 10? But if you look at their numbers, he is averaging 3 points more than Chet and a little bit less than a board more. But, dude, other than that, look at the percentages. Look at the efficiency numbers. Chet's PER is significantly higher than Wembanyama's as well. It's the second highest PER in the league behind Marcus Sasser for rookies. But everything, box score plus minus, value over replacement player, effective field goal percentage, free throw percentage, 3-point percentage is a glaring difference between the two, Jonathan. And then field goal percentage. Wembanyama's 7'4", he's shooting under 50% from the field. Chet's shooting 62. I mean, look at Chet's freaking numbers.
I think, and look,
he's
it's going to
be 62, 56, 87. Is that real? Does that even exist? Is that human?
That's also the benefit of being on a good team with good players. Okay, but he's a good player, man. I mean, look, it's going to be a nice rivalry for a long time if those two dudes stay healthy. And I also think that Holmgren in that system, like, he has a role that, like, what he is supposed to do, right? Wembanyama, man, I don't know what his – they just kind of throw him the ball and say, hey, go figure it out, right?
Well, I don't know. You're right, Jonathan. Here's what I've watched a bunch of Spurs games because we didn't do it. We meant to do it, but our top league pass teams, if the Spurs are playing a reasonably decent team, they're near the top of my list. And the Thunder are a very close second because I like watching Jalen Williams too.
Yep.
That's just the whole Thunder team is just fun to watch because Dort, remember, like we said, every game Dort could shank somebody. You don't know. I mean, Dort could always be playing his last game. I mean, he literally might pull a knife out of his sock and shank somebody that he doesn't like if they're scoring too many points. The Thunder are for real, dude. I'm gonna make a lot of money on FanDuel. I say a lot of money. I'm gonna make not very much money, but I'm gonna make some money on FanDuel because I bet
you're gonna make a few dollars. Yeah.
Listen, I accidentally bet them over their win total twice. I bet it, and then like a few weeks later, I was like, God damn, what is the Thunder's win total? And I bet it again. I didn't realize I'd already bet it once, so I double bet them. Yeah.
Why not? But look, why not? I will say this about Wemby, okay? The things he is doing, okay, are unlike anything we've ever seen, for sure. I do believe now, and I know it's a super small sample size, and I know health is always part of the equation, okay?
Yeah.
If he's healthy for 12, 13 years, okay, if he is, he will win multiple MVPs and multiple titles. Like, he is unlike anything we have ever seen. Anything.
Some things just like I know his field goal percentage is 48.9, but like he's going to get so many easy baskets. You got to remember he's 19, right? And so in 4 years, he's going to weigh 35 more pounds. He just is, because he's going to become a man. I mean, when men hit puberty and they grow hair on their body, which he doesn't have, like shit is going to change. When you throw 35 pounds on him, try getting him off the block. And I understand center of gravity and all that crap. It doesn't seem to bother him right now. They've got big, strong, physical dudes that try to get up under him. And he spins right off of them or turns around and shoots right over them. He's very comfortable doing it because it looks like he's been doing it for a long time in Paris or in France or wherever the hell he was playing.
Though, and for those out there that have done this, they'll know exactly what we're talking about. For us, like, hey, both, 6'3", 6'4" guys, right? So you play on an 8-foot goal, okay?
Yeah.
And you obviously you try to dunk everything, but you shoot a jump shot on an 8-foot goal, like from 10 feet, 12 feet, you're shooting down into the rim.
Yes.
That's what he is doing.
Yes.
So him being pushed off the block is irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant as long as he doesn't end up 20 feet from the goal.
Look, here's the deal. So, you and I used to have almost exactly the same reach, right? So if we reach up, our reach is exactly 8 feet.
Yeah.
And so we can't touch a rim on an 8.5-foot goal.
Right.
But he can touch a 10-foot rim with 2 hands without jumping.
Yes.
2 hands. And so him playing on a 10-foot rim is even more exacerbated than us playing on 8.5-foot goals, and we're 6'4", pretty normal sized people. Yeah. It's insane. The game does come very easy. I just think it's a 2-horse race, and I know there's going to be a huge clamor to give it to Wembanyama. But here's the deal: if the Thunder go 51 and whatever that is, 51 and 31, and the Spurs regress to where we think they will, there's no way they're winning 40 games. I know they're out to a good start. They're 3-3. They're 3-3, and that's overachieving. And 3-3 is 41 and 41, right? So I can't fathom any scenario where they win 30. If they do, that means Vassell's better than I thought. Kelton Johnson has somehow decided to be efficient. The one thing they got to do is they got to get Sohan off the point and put Trae Young in there because Trae Jones is a really good point guard.
Yeah.
And he fits Wembanyama better. And Sohan's probably better coming off the bench as an energy guy. Can do a little more offensively off the bench, but I don't know. All right, that's my number 2. All I'm saying is it's not a foregone conclusion. It was a 3-horse race when the season started.
Yep. And
Scoot is out of the equation, right?
And look, like you said, if Chet plays and they sit Wemby because they go into the tank, which I still think is a real possibility, right? Then 100%, I'm with you. Okay, me next. You ready?
You next, yeah.
All right. This is probably going to be a little redundant, but what the hell is Steph Curry doing right now?
What's he doing?
Dude, at 31, 6, and 4, he's shooting 55, 47, and 95 right now, okay?
Let's pull it up.
55, 47, and 95, averaging 31 a game on a team who's – I don't even know who their second-best player is. Like, I don't either. I guess it's Andrew Wiggins, maybe.
Is it? I don't know.
Yes, I don't know, man. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, Clay made a buzzer beater the other night, or with 0.2 seconds left to win a game, but he's struggling to score. Dude, it is incredible, and people aren't paying attention to it because, like, oh, it's Steph. No, dude.
Jonathan, I didn't know.
Done this.
I didn't know. I take him for granted. I had no idea that his splits were that. And here's the deal: the Warriors are 5-2, and their center is 6'6".
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And can't shoot.
He can't shoot at all. That is going to come back to haunt him at some point, right? Like, Steph can do whatever the hell he wants. At some point, like, you got to play loony when you play against real teams because, you can't let Draymond Green. I guess, Draymond Green in the past, I guess everybody's of this opinion that he can guard centers, but he can't guard real centers. Like, he can't guard Jokic or Embiid or people like that. Not that Looney can either, but you got to at least get in the way. You got to at least stop the guy from getting, 80% of the offensive rebounds.
Look, Looney's one of a very small group of guys that could at least body up a Jokic or a Embiid. Like, he ain't gonna stop him, but like,
no, he can get in the way. He's ground bound too. He's like very, significantly affected by gravity, but like in a Horford type way, in a Marc Gasol type way. He's a big, thick, lower base body guy that can kind of like play positional defense.
What I want you to pay attention to, though, and I want the fans to really, like, when you watch Golden State this year, okay, Steph Curry has done something that, and what's Steph, 33, 34 at this point?
36 in 100 days.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he's 35 right now. Okay, so 36.
35 years and 237 days old.
What he has done at an advanced age is really hard to fathom, in that if you watch him today, even versus 2 years ago when he was doing his thing in the finals with Boston, okay, he is significantly better at creating off the dribble now than he was even then. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Agreed.
I'm not talking about jumpers. I'm talking about getting to the rim, floaters, dude, you cannot now guard him one-on-one facing him. You can't do it.
John, he's 30. Let's round up. He's 36 years old. And by the way, the fact that he was born in the same hospital as LeBron is the weirdest freaking stat. It's the weirdest stat of all time. That's a great stat. That hospital definitely probably has given birth to the best duo of NBA players ever. Just going out on a whim, unless Wilt was born in the same place as Michael Jordan or something weird. Yeah. Okay, so is there a scenario? And again, we always base this on paper resume, right? Not one-on-one games and stuff like that. Is there any scenario where Steph Curry can pass Kobe Bryant in your eyes historically on paper?
Sure.
What does he have to do? What does he have to do? What if he doesn't? What if he just keeps doing this shit for 4 more years and the Warriors don't win anything?
He's got to win another title.
He has to win another title.
I think so. Well, yeah, and here's why. Because Kobe won 2 as the best player. Steph's won 1. Well, 2, I guess.
2.
Yeah, the first year he didn't win it, the Finals MVP, which was ridiculous.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. But so he's won 2. So if he wins 5 total and now has 3 as the best player, right, then he passes Kobe, in my opinion, because now you have to take into account defensively Kobe was better, but Kobe was very overrated defensively at the end.
Well, at the end, he was awful. But what about all the defensive accolades for Kobe in his prime? What about all that? And Steph Curry has worked his ass off to become a slightly below average defender and a decent team defender.
He'll have 2 MVPs versus Kobe's. No. Yeah. Right? 2 MVPs? Steph?
Steph? Let me scroll. Steph has 2 MVPs, 9 All-NBA, 9 All-Stars, 4-time champion. So he's 1 behind Kobe.
Man, I don't know. Because Kobe had – how many times was Kobe first team All-NBA, dude? I think it was like 10.
Well, let me ask you this question. This is going to sound like I'm slandering Kobe. Was Kobe ever the best player in the world? Think about that just think carefully about that.
Yeah, I think he was for about a 2-year span.
He wasn't up to 2001 ever.
No, for sure. But I think about a 2-year span, and one of those years the Lakers weren't good. And then the next year when they lost to Boston in the finals, and he won MVP. He was MVP that year, okay? I think he was probably the best player in the world. And you got to look at it this way. Okay, you had LeBron, but when they went to the Olympics in 2008, okay, he was the dude. Man, everybody knew it. LeBron knew it. Everybody knew it, right?
Yeah.
So maybe for a 2-year span, but not longer than that. Not longer than that.
Isn't that crazy? Somebody as great as he was.
Yeah.
Steph Curry's definitely been the best player in the world on occasion. Well, we say that. Maybe.
I don't think so, because I think LeBron was the best player in the world for about 10 years.
Yeah, LeBron ate up a lot of potential years for Curry to be the best player in the world. You're probably right about that. He
wasn't better than Giannis in Giannis's healthy years. He's not better than Jokic right now. Has Steph ever been the best player in the world? I don't think Steph's ever been the best player in the world, actually.
3 guys come to mind. Well, 4 guys come to mind as being unquestionably the best player in the world for the longest duration. Okay, let's start historically and work our way forward. Wilt.
Yes.
Unquestionably for a decade. And I know I don't want to hear any of the Bill Russell shit. I don't want to hear any about rings. I just want to hear best player in the world.
Yep.
Then you're talking about Kareem
70s.
For a really long time.
Mid-70s to mid-80s, so 10 years.
No, not mid-70s. Mid-70s. How about 1970?
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, he was rookie in 69. The whole decade was Kareem's. Who would have been better? Could Moses have been better in 1980 than Kareem? Maybe.
Probably. You got to think about this. Okay, so not in 1980. So from 1970 to about 1980, 81, The only opposition that Kareem had would have been Dr. J, and he definitely wasn't better than Kareem.
Well, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't in the league early enough. He wasted. We don't know because he was in the ABA doing what he was doing.
So when Bird and Magic came in the league in the early '80s, it took them probably 3 or 4 years. So I'd say probably about '83. That's when Moses kicked Kareem's ass in the finals. But then after that, it was Bird and Magic and Jordan. So, probably 12 years.
So right. I was going to say Wilt, Kareem. I was going to say clearly Jordan, and then LeBron.
Yep.
Those 4 guys, their duration is probably about 40 years combined. No matter how you piece it together, and you can argue 1 year this or a year later, a year earlier, whatever. But about 40 years in the NBA, and that's going back to 1970. There's only been
before that with Wilt.
Oh yeah, to Wilt to 1961. So basically, you're looking at 62 years worth of basketball. And those guys, just those 4 guys were the best player for about 40 of those 62 years.
4 guys. Yeah.
And so right now, Jokic, we both agree, unanimous, no question about it, is the best player in the world right now, all things considered.
Yes.
We'll see how long his reign lasts. Who's most likely to dethrone him right now? Who's the most likely player in the NBA to take the throne away from Jokic and us say, you know what? I think this guy's passed Jokic up. He's the best player in the world.
Wembanyama.
You think he's next in line?
If Jokic decides he wants to continue playing basketball.
No, Jokic plays. You think the next best player in the world is gonna not Giannis?
No. What I'm saying is, if Jokic plays for multiple years, because I just think that dude could go, I don't want to play anymore. I'm good. I'm fine.
I agree. I totally agree. I could see Jokic retiring at like 32 or something.
Yeah, but like as long as he wants to play, because his game is going to translate to older age for sure.
For sure.
So, yeah, I think by the time he's done, Wembanyama will probably have. I think Jokic has 3 or 4 more years in him where he's the best player in the world. I do. I really do, and I don't
see any reason to dispute that. None of his game is predicated on athleticism or speed or anything like that. It's just he is an effing genius, and you're not. And he's bigger than everybody else. People forget he's the third biggest player in the league.
Can he? And look, here's the deal. He can walk into 28 points whenever he wants to. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
He can also choose. I'll win the game. I'll shoot it 8 times and score 16 points. And we'll win by 20. And I can have just as big an effect doing that. Dude, there are only 2 other players ever that I am aware of that could do that. And that's Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
And, I mean, people say, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd couldn't do that. Jason Kidd couldn't walk into 28 points. Bird could score 30 when he wanted to. Magic could have scored 25 if he'd ever wanted to, just whenever he wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But Jokic is that dude, and man, I'm gonna tell you, it was one of my topics, so I can get it out the way. Better than he was last year.
It looks that way. It looks that way, which is unfathomable. It looks that way, and you know who else is looking really good this year is Doncic, which gets me to my third point, and I'm very surprised by the Mavericks. Like I'm very, very surprised. I'm not ready to sweat the nuts of Derek Lively yet. Like everybody's like Derek Lively, he's Tyson Chandler and all this other shit. I'm like, let's relax here for a second. Okay. He's had 2 really good games, a couple of stinkers, and then a couple of average games. I'm going to chill on the Derek Lively crap for now. Okay. Because I've seen him rim run. I've seen him block a few shots, but that's about it. I haven't seen a lot of skill stuff. I'm not saying he won't develop it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it yet. So I'm just really surprised because I didn't think Grant Williams was going to make every freaking 3-pointer that he shot. So that's a big part of it is Grant Williams. We know what he does on the defensive end. He's an instigator. He's an agitator. He was probably the better of the 2 defenders that Boston lost, honest in all fairness, compared to Marcus Smart. And so he's doing his thing defensively, which they needed. They needed toughness. They needed a switchable guy that could guard bigs, even though he's like 5'11". And then he can also, help a little bit on perimeters. But he's making every freaking shot he takes. Part of the reason is I think he's really open in the corner over and over and over and over.
What I've seen. He has incredible irrational confidence, which
it's horrible. Like he can't even straighten his arms. He's so strong. His chest is literally a 1.5 feet thick front to back.
No. Irrational confidence. Like he can't. He thinks.
Yes.
Like, for some
Dylan
reason,
Brooks. Like Dylan Brooks. He thinks he needs more shots.
I just think he walked into Dallas going, "I'm the difference here.
Yeah, I'm the piece. Yeah.
I'm not the guy.
Like him.
I'm the guy who's going to make the difference for Luka.
Well, he is right now, so he can talk the talk. He can definitely, if he's walking the walk, he can talk the talk. I like him. I'm just surprised. I mean, what is Dallas? Dallas, I think, is 5-1. Dallas is 5-1, Jonathan.
I know. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though.
I'm just saying that's the surprise. Like I thought Dallas. I bet Dallas under their win total. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I bet under because they just didn't do anything. Like I didn't think Derek Lively was actually going to help. They just didn't do anything. And everything I saw post-trade last year was like, I think this team's trending in the wrong direction. I thought it was going to get really kind of ugly, and it still might, but I don't know. Luka Doncic is just that big of a genius. I mean, Doncic, Jokic, LeBron, in the last 20 years, that's the three, right? We've talked about IQ. Those are the three. Those are the three that we've seen. Chris Paul, you could argue, but he's not 6'8", 6'7", 6'7", 245 like Doncic.
That they're a Kyrie Irving trip to the flat edge of the world away from being,
That's true. Then, Kyrie disappears, which he's been prone to do, and they're absolutely helpless.
There are just certain dudes I can't trust, and we've
been down that road.
Yeah. All right,
What's your number three?
My number three. I'm gonna have to choose here because I had a couple. Are the Pels a top 3 to 4 seed if healthy?
Well, they're already not healthy. You saw McCollum's out 4 to 6.
Okay, but if Zion and Ingram are healthy, how about that?
Are they a top 3 to 4? No. Well, you need Trey Murphy, you need Alvarado, you need Brandon Ingram healthy, and he missed a couple. You need all that stuff. You need all those guys healthy. No, I still don't think they are. I have the Nuggets better. I think the Thunder are better.
I think they might be.
I think the Suns with Beal are better.
I can't trust Zion either. That's the thing. All right. So I was just asking that question. That's a super random question. All right. Yeah. I think the Celtics are better than advertised. That's
yes,
my third.
I do too. I'm worried.
I think they are scary. And I know they have no depth in the front court. And I know I got all that.
Yeah.
Gosh dog it, man. They are.
Dude,
it is so easy for them offensively. It is
the
so
starting
easy.
five is so stupid. It's so ridiculous. They are the greatest video game starting five ever, too.
Have to be, right? I mean,
because you can push the shoot button no matter whose hand the ball ends up in.
It's crazy to watch.
Yeah.
And when you have two stars that play all the time, it matters. So when Porzingis goes down or somebody gets hurt, those two dudes are going to be there. They're going to be playing, So
they're one of those rare teams, Jonathan, that's a great regular season team and a great postseason team. Because in the regular season, you could even be missing two guys and get away with Tatum and Derek White on a given night, or Jaylen Brown and Porzingis on a given night. I mean, you can get away with that kind of crap. They are really tough. It's really scary when. And I'm quoted as saying this, I think they have the potential to be one of the greatest defensive teams of all time.
I know.
Especially in playoff basketball where the rotations shrink. And right now, I think they're the best offensive team in the NBA.
That's crazy.
It's a bad combination if you're a Bucks fan, especially since Scotty Barnes is out playing your former MVP best player this season.
We are headed towards two teams that, like, neither team, although I do really enjoy watching Jokic play, okay?
Yeah.
These are two teams that they would not be at the top of my league pass.
Right.
But the finals, I mean, if everybody's healthy, these are going to be your two teams in the finals, and it is going to be a freaking war.
I'm a positivity pumper. I've been accused of being a positivity pumper. So we're going to talk about what we talked about on the telephone earlier this morning on my way into work. I couldn't even wait until 2:00 to do this with you because I was in an Instagram group chat with a bunch of Jordan card collectors, and somebody was like, they said this is a very well. First of all, somebody said Jokic is better than Giannis, and I was like, well, hold on, let's relax. Let's not get
now
taken
historically better, right?
Well, based on resume, and I was like, well, Giannis has 2 MVPs, Jokic has 2 MVPs, Giannis has a title, Jokic has a title, Giannis has a Finals MVP, Jokic has a Finals MVP, and then Giannis has a Defensive Player of the Year and a Buku All NBA defensive teams. So I was like, I think that tilts the scale in Giannis's favor. Now, momentum-wise, it's really easy to forget, who Giannis is, and especially the way he's playing. And it looks like Jokic, he certainly has all the momentum, and he might be the best player for the next 3 years straight. But as of right now, I thought those guys were equal. So what I was saying was this year is super important historically in the Jokic versus Giannis comparisons, 15 years down the road. In hindsight, when we look back, this is going to be the season where it can go in one of two directions. Then you've got guys like Tatum who are right effing there. His historical legacy, this is it. They've got a 2-year window, I think, Boston, right? That's it. It's 2 years because they can't pay all these guys. So I think that he's got 2 years to get one.
Yep.
And then I took it even a step further, Jonathan, and this is the real kicker right here. And this is why I alluded to that Curry versus Kobe question earlier, is because you've got you've got LeBron chasing Jordan in many people's eyes. Okay, say whatever you want. We know where we stand on that, but that's really important, right? Another ring for LeBron at this age with this team, which most people would give like 8th to 10th best odds. That would be a really big deal for LeBron.
Oh, for sure.
Then you've got Curry at age 35 and 237 days, almost age 36. If he wins another one, now it brings him into the conversation with Kobe. And some people might even allege, most people think that he's in the top 10 already. Some people might aver that he has now passed Kobe if he wins another ring and another Finals MVP. And then you've got, LeBron versus Curry, right? So almost certainly nobody thinks Curry's on the same level as LeBron. I don't think even the most staunch Curry supporters and biggest Golden State Warrior fans historically on paper, a paper resume, don't think that Curry has surpassed LeBron or is even at the same level. Correct. But if Curry wins another one, it's a conversation, Jonathan.
For sure, it's a conversation. There's no question about it. And it has to be a conversation. So I'm going to throw this at you, okay? Jokic, okay? And I know and historically, okay, resume-wise, Giannis is, because of the defensive stuff, he probably is a little bit ahead of him, okay? But I brought up something to you today that you agreed with, that if you had to take them at the peak of their powers for one season, okay, who do you take? And you and I both agreed you would take Jokic because of his effect on the offensive end of the floor, especially. And defensively, he's not miserable like people want to make him out to be. He's just not, okay?
Well, you also want him to have the ball with 2 minutes left in the game in a tie game, and you don't want
all those things. I'm going to throw this at you, and I want you to think about it. How many guys historically at the peak of their powers would you take ahead of Jokic? Name them.
Well, I would take Jordan and LeBron personally.
Okay. I would too.
I don't want to go back to Wilt because it's just too hard to wrap my brain around. But I would take Wilt in 1961 versus Jokic in 2023 against that era. I would take Wilt against his 1961 opponents versus Jokic against his 2023. I would do that.
But didn't win it.
Huh? Of course he didn't win it. He was freaking playing against an army of Hall of Famers.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
What do we say?
That's fine, but my point is you're at 3 right now.
Well, I'm at 2 because I don't want to say Wilt for sure, but I would say Jordan and LeBron for sure at the peak of their powers are better than Jokic, even though, Jonathan, the analytics would state otherwise. These years that Jokic had analytics.
I'm asking you who you want on your team to win a
Bird's
title.
Close, Jonathan. Bird's close. I got to believe Prime Kareem would be very close because Prime Kareem was a defensive freaking juggernaut. Okay. I don't think – God, it's hard to just dismiss Prime Tim Duncan, Prime Shaquille O'Neal.
I want you to think about this, man. Now, I'm with you on all those guys, okay? But
every I've named is in the top 8 players of all time.
Okay, first of all. And second of all, you've questioned half of them.
Yeah, I know. I know. Isn't that crazy? It's like, well, I don't want to jump to conclusions because his body of work is not long enough yet. I mean, if
just say
like right now, if let's say Jokic gets hit by one of those horse-drawn carriages that he races in, let's say one of his horses throws him off, right? For God's sakes, get off the horses. You weigh 800 pounds.
I understand.
But let's say Jokic untimely passes away or just decides he wants to drink and ride horses and farm, which is not out of the question.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same career as Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson.
His resume won't stack up. You're right. I'm just saying at the peak of their powers, I want you to think about this.
Peak. Okay, how about this?
Match him up with Shaquille. Okay, Shaquille would score it well. I mean, you can't do anything with him. What in the world would Shaquille O'Neal do with him?
He couldn't do anything with him.
I'm not. Look, I think Jokic in that matchup would be responsible for more points than Shaquille O'Neal would.
Responsible for, unquestionably.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Jonathan, tough, I don't know, man.
And I never thought. Look, if you'd have told me 3-4 years ago, dude, you're gonna have to make an argument for Shaquille O'Neal versus Jokic at the end of his career.
I'd have laughed in your face.
Are you serious? Like, but seriously, he's 7'1", 285. Now, granted, Shaq was 4'15" apparently at one point.
Yeah, apparently. Well, Jonathan, the one thing I'll say about you and me is that, like, I know we're pretty stubborn human beings in our regular life, but we're not dismissive of new players coming along and supplanting old players, even our heroes, Jonathan. You know, a name that did not just get brought up was 3 consecutive MVP Larry Bird peak years. That's another one. It's just a conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
What I see with Jokic, what I see Jokic doing, that is the closest comparison is those 3 Larry Bird years. But like you said, Jokic is 7 foot, 285 pounds.
Right. And a better ball handler than Larry Bird was.
Well, I don't think that. I mean, they both could handle the ball for big people, and Bird was bigger than people realize. I think Bird was pushing 6'10". You know, he's 6'9", pushing 6'10". It's just fascinating that these guys are paragons, dude. These guys are demigods. Bird, Magic,
legends,
Kareem, legends, literally Rushmore legend type people, and. Yeah, peak Jokic is the real deal, dude. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I feel like
they didn't make the game look easier than he does. They did not.
They definitely didn't.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
NBA Finals, if you had to choose and bet $100 on East and $100 on West, Celtics Nuggets?
Celtics Nuggets. Celtics win the finals in 7.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Celtics Nuggets. Celtics win the finals in 7.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, we'll see how it plays out. Remember, the NBA this year is freaking amazing. Awesome. It's all there's even the teams that have no chance of winning. They're in a transition period where they're kind of finding their identity. Like, I think of this Oklahoma City Thunder team. I think of this Minnesota Timberwolves team. You look at the Pelicans. Those I don't want to say middling, but those mid-tier teams. You know, one of them is going to take a huge step forward. We don't know who. I mean, one of those teams is winning 50 games, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
You know, I don't know. It's exciting. And then you've got the teams that have been rebuilt, like the Suns, like the Bucks, and I guess you could say the Celtics were rebuilt as well because of the changes that they made with Drew Holiday and Porzingis. I mean, I know they got this, core 3, but damn. Oh my God, there's a lot of awesome stuff happening in the NBA this year. I hope everybody's as excited as we are. This is awesome. So we'll try to do this do this weekly, guys and girls watching. What are some things that we didn't bring up that again, Jonathan, we could have done 30 on 30. We could have picked 30 things, right? There's a ton of surprises out there, especially if you start talking about fantasy basketball, which I'm a big proponent of. I know not everybody is, but we just had to narrow it down to 3. But it's going to be awesome to watch, and we'll kind of revisit some of these 3. I mean, that Rookie of the Year race, we're going to be talking about that the whole season. I don't think that's going anywhere, barring an injury. And is it fair to say no one else is sneaking in that? That's what's going to make it awesome.
No, yeah, there's just
All-Star and Amen Thompson can't get in there.
Irrelevant.
Nobody else plays enough. Nobody else is going to play enough minutes to put up the numbers to do that. I mean, Scoot is already injured and was awful when we saw him.
I just wonder how much it weighs in the Thunder, the fact that they're going to win games, how much that will weigh into Holmgren's case at the end of the day.
You think there's a case for the critics and whoever votes on this to use it against him?
No.
Hey, well, he had all this help. He was never the focal point.
If his numbers are still comparable, then it won't matter. I don't think that'll matter.
You think it'll be more of a benefit than a detriment?
Yes.
Winning 50 games.
Yeah.
Again, we're assuming the Thunder just magically going to win 50 games. they're 3-3. It's the same record as the Spurs.
You look at it like this. They didn't do it last year, and he's plugged into the lineup. And if they do it this year, then
that's fair. Yeah, that's the argument. That's the argument. So anyway, all right, good episode, man. We'll do it again for sure. The Pinkies are out. The show is over, for God's sakes. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. What are some things that you've noticed in these first 14 days of the NBA that kind of surprise you or make you, feel like, you were on point. You knew it was coming. Everybody, now's your chance to pretend like you knew it was going to happen. So we'll see where it goes from here. Thanks again, Jonathan. Thanks for joining, man. We'll do it again next week.
No doubt. See you guys soon.
Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby. Peace.